Hey guys, we're back. Today I'm gonna get right to it like I always do. We got a Toyota Sienna 2006. It has the 3.3 liter motor in it. This is going to be a starter problem on this one. I already did the diagnosis. I'm going to go through that diagnosis with you so you don't have to change a part if you don't need it. If you don't need a starter, I don't want you to put a starter on there, and we're going to learn how to test the starter, and this test will work on most vehicles. All right, and we'll explain a little bit later on. So let's get to it. Let's begin the diagnosis, and let's get this starter changed out. 2006 Toyota Sienna. All right, guys, this is round two. All right, so get in the car, check this out. You see how bright my lights are. So more than likely, if you see bright lights on your dash, they're bright, normal bright. It's probably not going to be a battery issue you're having, but we can also do some voltage checks at the battery. But looking at that, it looks fine. Now check this out. You watch your lights while you turn the key. See if they get dimmer, and they don't get dimmer. Those go out, but those remain the same brightness. See that? So more than likely when you see that, it's not going to be a battery issue. So I'm immediately, at this point, I'm already going for the starter as a possible problem. Now I did replace the starter last year. This is a good customer of mine. So we're going to go back in here. We're going to leave the key in the on position. And our starter on this vehicle is located the starter on this vehicle is, it's a 3.3 liter motor, by the way. It's located down underneath here. You guys can see that. All right. Now back there in the back, you'll see a plug. There's a plug back there. And that one wire that goes into the starter, that comes from your ignition switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little tool. Sorry about that. I'm going to get my tool on it, a little pinch tool. I'm going to pinch that wire, and then I'm going to check voltage from this end. So let me go ahead and hook up to that wire. It'll actually pinch that wire. That way the voltage will run through here, right? And I should be able to get a reading from this end. Let me hook it up. All right, you see I have it connected to the wire back there in the back of the starter. The skinny wire, not the fat wire, coming from the positive battery terminal, but the skinny wire coming from the ignition switch. All right, so go ahead and hook up my power probe, one negative, one positive, or vice versa. We can also, at this point, we can also read battery voltage. Well, if I had it hooked up right, it would read battery voltage. Okay. So we have 12 volts in the battery. That's good. 12.6 is like a very good battery. This is still a brand new battery. I also installed this for, I think 6 months ago. Something like that. So let's get down here, and on the end of this, I should have a tone, a ground tone, because right now that wire, that little skinny wire, does not have any voltage. If I could just get it to stay still for me, I should have no voltage going through that. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the key like I'm going to start it, and if you hear a different tone, that means the voltage is going here to the starter. So it is a starter. I know that simply because I should be able to give it 12 volts right here, and that starter is not engaging. I'll tell you, I proved that I got 12 volts on here. Watch the spark. So if I put 12 volts on this wire that I pinched, that starter should engage. and it's not. So let's do another test here. We know it's a starter. It's not the ignition switch. It's going to be a starter issue. So I'm going to get a hammer and something long, a long extension maybe. I'm going to tap on that starter, and we're going to watch this thing start maybe. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's hit it. The customer's going to help me out for a second. Just hold that camera for me, all right? You mind? Just hold it right about there somewhere, okay? All right. I'm going to tap on the starter a little bit. Try to turn that key. It's no good. Good enough, thank you. I don't know what that noise is all about. I gotta get with her about that. Okay. So what happens is, I'll try to explain this the best I can. Why hitting it helps, because sometimes inside the starter itself, you might have, let's say, 2 wires right there, and let's say over time the wire separated, so you had an open in the circuit. So when you hit it, it'll vibrate where it's just touching again, and that way you can get the circuit, complete circuit, and then the starter will crank. That's why hitting it, and then finally it'll touch again, and you got connection, and the starter will engage. That's why hitting works sometimes. So it'll work. I'm still gonna have to replace the starter for her. Let's turn the key again. But this is just a temporary, you know, I've got to get home. Yes, I can get it home. You're stuck at Walmart, Kmart, whatever. And you know, if it works, it works. You get home, you'll save a tow bill. But anyways, this starter is going to have to be replaced. I just can't leave this car or leave her like that, because I guarantee it's gonna not start on. I guarantee it's not going to start one day for her. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that, and see if I can get our starter in here today. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's get it out of the way. All right, let's go ahead and get this battery out of here real quick. Okay, now you can get a little bit better view, but we're still gonna have to take stuff off so we can get there. Take the battery tray out of there too. Okay, go ahead and take these 2 bolts out of there too. All right, let's work on getting the air filter out of there. All right, just remove this bolt out of here, out of the air cleaner. Disconnect this hose. Unplug the mass airflow sensor. What's up, man? All right. Unplug that, you can get this out the way. All right, I want to make note. There's 2 little ports for the vacuum lines on the side of that. All right, and there's your 2 little lines right there. You also got one on the top, and it plugs up to this this solenoid right here. Okay, that solenoid right there, that's where that goes. Just making a note for you guys. All right, let's take these 10 millimeters out of the bottom of the canister, the housing, and we can pull that off. I'm sorry, there's 3 of them in here. There's 3 of them in here. Okay. Okay, good. All right, go ahead and unplug the solenoid. Go ahead and unplug that as well. O'Reilly's Auto Parts now delivers to me, which is cool thing. I can be pretty close, if I'm close to the store within, you know, 5-7 miles, I guess, something like that. They'll come and bring me what I need. Loyal customer I am. So you build a rapport with your parts guy, your parts company, and you can continue doing stuff and making money, because I don't have to stop. I can start taking off the starter, and they'll deliver the starter to me, which is an awesome thing. It's a beautiful thing. I've been with O'Reilly's for about 10 years now. Just thought I'd throw that in too. 10 years of being a loyal customer. All right, guys, now here's the starter. Now you notice this works on any starter. All starters will have a power wire, you know, coming from the battery, the big cable, and all of them will have a 1 wire. Most of them will have 1 wire going to the starter, coming from the ignition switch, okay? So that's what I tapped into. So when you turn the key, and if you have voltage coming out of that, when you turn the key in the start position, you should have voltage coming out of that. If you don't have voltage coming out of that, then your problem is not the starter. It's further up. Ignition switch, neutral safety switch, something like that. You'll more than likely probably have to get a diagram, the wiring diagram of the starting circuit, to find the problem. But this is how I do it. And you can tap in anywhere along this wire that you can reach to, and that's it. I poked a little hole in it with this thing. I'm not really worried about holes and stuff like that, like a lot of guys. A little hole is not gonna make a real big deal. I could put some liquid tape on it. I do have some, so I guess I'll liquid tape it. But I'm not one of those mechanics that trips about a little bitty hole when I'm doing diagnostics. I'm just saying. So let's get this starter off of here. It looks like there's 17 millimeters. I don't know. And we can start disconnecting this stuff. Okay. And that's going to be a 13. It looks like a 13. So let's get it off. I have it unplugged from the starter now, just to make things a little bit easier to understand. I have it unplugged. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the key in the run position, so that light should light up. If that light lights up, but it still doesn't crank, you have a bad starter. Now, I'm turning the key now. If the light lights up and its starter does not engage, your starter more than likely is going to be the culprit. If it doesn't light up, you have a problem in the ignition switch, the neutral safety switch, something in your wiring. Yeah, something like that. You're gonna have to get a schematic, a starting circuit schematic, probably to figure this problem out. But it's not a big deal. You can find schematics all day long online. Okay? All right, guys, and that is it. And this is just a simple little test light, y'all. You can buy test lights at the parts store for like $3, $5, $10. And instead of just changing starters on a guess, oh, it's got to be the starter, get you a little test light. Test 1 wire and know for sure before you spend $185 on a starter for this car, new starter, or test to make sure that's a starter. $10, man. And you can use this for checking your fuses in the fuse box, You can check all kinds of things with a test light. Test light, gotta get one. I know I keep saying that, but man, this is 2021. You know, with all this electronics in the world today, you need a test light. Test light, multimeter, something like that, y'all. It's very important. I'm gonna keep on stressing a test light until everyone has a test light in the glove box. All right, let's get this starter out of here. All right, on the bolts, they're gonna be 14mm bolts. There's two, real easy to get to, okay? Real easy to get to, just take that off. And then take your 13mm off right here. Battery's already disconnected, so you don't have to worry about that. Just pull it out of there. It looks fairly new, by the way. Okay, that's all right. We got another one. That's what we're putting in it. O'Reilly's Auto Parts Ultima. All right, let's get it in the hole.